Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Players Experience podcast. On today's episode, we are welcoming in three-time Paralympic medalist Tyler McGregor to share his story about his disability and how he overcame it to go from being in the hospital to competing in the Olympics and World Championships and so much more, and what it really means to him to be part of the Paralympic community, what the overall experience at the games was, and so much more. Before we bring Tyler onto the show, of course, we just want to say a big shout out to our sponsors and to our video production team for all the work that they do on the show. Make sure to check out all the different promo codes and get something for yourself using that. As well, if you haven't done it yet, it's a new year. It's time to subscribe to the channel. Hit the follow button, hit the bell. Make sure you're following the channel for all the new episodes that will be coming out. And again, I appreciate your support. Now, without further ado, let's get to Tyler and talk about his Olympic journey. Hey Tyler, how's it going today?
Good, thanks. How are you? Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for taking time. Let's just hop right into it. So I'm going to start off with a little fun Q&A I like to call rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you three questions, and whatever the first thing that comes to your mind is, let me know. So,
Okay.
Strangest thing in your fridge right now?
I don't have many weird things. Honestly, nothing really strange. Probably beets or like some other. I don't even know what it is. My mom made some sort of pickled thing that just is sitting in the back of my fridge, and I have not touched or even looked at.
Fair. All right, all right. What's a TV show that you're currently watching right now?
I am currently watching Vikings and I for the Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. What's it called? Something Wrexham. I forget the start of what it's called.
Okay, I couldn't even tell you because I didn't even know of that show.
Yeah. Okay.
And third is, what's your favorite sport to play outside of hockey?
Golf. Absolutely. Golf.
Okay. Easy option. Now, instead
Yeah.
of being a pro golf player, how did you know that hockey was the route that you wanted to go in sport and make a passion out of?
When I was probably, well, a few different instances actually. When I was 8, I always tell the story of like watching the 2002 Salt Lake City games. Like Joe Sakic was my childhood hockey hero, and watching Canada win the women's gold medal, and then I think it was a day or two later, watching the men win their first medal in men's hockey in 50 years. Joe Sakic scored the game-winning goal. Like that was when I was just like, I want to do that. And so that was pretty early on, and then I played both avidly as a kid, obviously, and the seasons also aligned perfectly. Like, in the off season for hockey, I would just spend sun up to sundown at the golf course. But then I remember I was probably like 13 or 14. I had to choose between going to try out for one of my hockey teams, or the team I wanted to play for in the next season, and going to a regional golf tournament to qualify for provincials, and I chose hockey, and I kind of never looked back after that point. It kind of took the lead role, I guess, in my life, and so yeah, there was a few instances like that where I was just convinced that that was the right path for me.
No, hey, it's definitely worked out. We're going to talk about why it's worked out. But for those that don't know, you were diagnosed with a condition called spinal cell sarcoma, which resulted in you losing your left leg. What was the mentality for you knowing that you were losing the limb, but that you weren't going to be determined to let that stop you?
I think early on it was a lot of shock and just being unaware of really like this new environment. I grew up in a small town where there wasn't really any amputees or anyone really, not a whole lot of people at least living with the disability. So it was kind of just unfamiliar. So a lot of my mindset was just trying to learn as much as possible about kind of the reality that I was facing, and at the same time, it was obviously a ton of disappointment to kind of lose what I thought and what I hoped would be a lifetime career and lifetime passion in hockey. To kind of have that taken away was it was devastating, and it was heartbreaking, and it was confusing for many months. And yet, like at the same time, my passion and my love for hockey just continued to grow. It's kind of while I was in the hospital, like what I turned to for joy each day. Just being able to turn on a hockey game um, and to talk hockey with my teammates and you know so many of those things. And then you know for me it was about adapting as quick as possible and finding a way to continue to have it as part of my life. And kind of through that process of recovery after I had my amputation, you know, I tried to learn to skate. I did. I learned to skate as an above knee amputee, and then I was just slowly kind of introduced to the world of the Paralympics, and I found sledge hockey or para hockey, and that kind of offered me the opportunity um, to take the next step or to reintroduce myself to the sport that I loved and wanted to play. And so um, in many ways, like my mentality throughout the whole thing was just being open-minded and adaptable, um, trying to kind of um, open myself to new opportunities and to work hard at them when they presented themselves. And that's fortunately worked out very well.
No, and thank you for sharing that story, because like everyone will like do the research. They see like, oh, like this person has a like lost a limb, and I refer to a disability as a new ability, because like myself, I'm a Special Olympics athlete. I have an intellectual disability. Obviously, I know it's not on the same spectrum as losing a leg, but everyone will do the research and just kind of see one component, but without knowing the background story and the effects of it, and what it really does from a mental standpoint too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that I agree with you. Like it's so important to open yourself to understanding um, people's different situations and kind of what they deal with, and also just like I think it just opens people's minds to you know how adaptable, whether you're a Paralympic athlete or a Special Olympic athlete, how adaptable each of those groups are. And it's always so impressive, and I think that's an important perspective to gain when having those conversations.
No, exactly. Now you took, because you learned about sledge hockey in the Paralympics, you began playing sledge hockey in 2011, where you made the Canadian men's national para ice hockey team in 2012, where you debuted at just 18 years old. As a result of the success at those games, as well as the 2013 IPC Sledge Hockey World Championships, you became the second youngest player named to Team Canada for the sledge hockey team during the 2014 Winter Paralympics. What was that moment like for you to again overcome that adversity, kind of realize, okay, I want to get back into sport, I want to be introduced to sledge hockey, and really then being able to represent your country and come home with a bronze medal to top things off?
Yeah, I mean the learning experience was exciting and frustrating and at the same time because uh you know it was exciting to kind of be learning a new sport that I'd already played or learned how to play it differently. But it was also frustrating at times to kind of want that learning curve to occur quicker. And so a lot of hard work kind of went into that. A lot of a lot of learning from just by trial and error and through repetition, but also just through observation of, once I made the national team, trying to learn as much as I possibly could from the veteran players within our program. And then, having the chance to go to world championships and win in what was my first season, in 2013. And then a year later, like the experience at the Paralympics was just unbelievable. And it was kind of mind blowing in many ways. I was so young, and which I think, like, I struggle to remember certain aspects of the games for that reason. But I just remember that was my first time walking into a stadium of 40,000 people and seeing and hearing people cheering, and I was just blown away. And then to be competing on the world stage, and see athletes from every corner of the world was so cool. And then just to have my family over there as well and enjoy the experience. It was it was so awesome. Just like having I guess at least reflecting to 4 years prior when I was in the hospital watching the Vancouver games, and then to fast forward to 2014 in Sochi and to be a part of those games as an athlete. It was incredible. And I think just being able to represent Canada there, and it's something that I'm very proud of and honored to be able to do.
That's incredible. And like you're right, it's all about perception and really what you want to do as a dream, where you go from, like you said, being in the hospital, fast forward 4 years, being at the Olympics, but then fast forwarding 4 and 8 more years where you attended 2 more Paralympic games, winning silver in both of those games, as well as a couple world championships mixed in there too. How much work and dedication goes into getting prepared for events like these for you personally, and really being like getting ready to be performing on the big stage at the Olympics?
Well, I think oftentimes you break as an athlete, like for us at least as amateur athletes, you break your kind of your training cycles into 4-year cycles. So as soon as the previous games end, you start planning out your preparation for the next ones. And oftentimes, really, as it is, like that kind of is an 11.5 month a year training and preparation process. And so we got back from Beijing and took a couple weeks to rest, and then you start training lightly to begin with, but reintroduce yourself to training, and you kind of do some reflection and understand areas of improvement. But I think the work and dedication, like we spend 5-6 days a week in whether we're on the ice or just in the gym. It can change week to week, but it's hours and hours a day. And then I think if you really want to be a high performer, you have to take it steps further than that, and focus on recovery and injury prevention, and trying to find ways to maximize your potential. That could include things like studying video and trying to learn different skills, whatever it may be. So I think like it's a constant evolution of how much work and dedication and discipline that you have to put in, but the bar keeps getting raised within pretty much every sport, right? And that can be challenging, but it's also so exciting to be a part of that evolution and that growth.
Talking about the evolution and the growth of different games, and you've been to a number of the Olympic Games, a different number of world championships. What's been your favorite event to go to or be a part of, with the mixture of the culture, the event, the experience itself, the athletes' village? I've heard from a number of different athletes. The athletes' village can be as wild as we can imagine sometimes. What's been your favorite moment of it?
So I think if I'm to reflect on games experiences, it's far and away the 2018 games in South Korea. That one was unique where typically at the games you're separated into two villages, one with all the one mountain village and one coastal village, they usually call it, where um, athletes from all over the world are kind of separated in those two. Whereas in South Korea, everyone was together in one, and there was just so many more people. The venues were incredible. The crowds that they had there were amazing. For us, it was easy to access and to watch other events. For our families, they had so much uh, ability to go watch other events and do other things outside of that. The village was so much fun there. We had such a great setup where we were in South Korea. The facility that we played in was, pretty much sold out. If not, it was sold out for every one of our games. Our semifinal game against the home nation was the loudest environment that I've ever been in my entire life. I remember they showed the decibel reading on the jumbotron, and like the second or third period is 104.5 decibels. So it was ridiculously loud, but just an incredible environment. Unfortunately, like that tournament itself didn't result in a gold medal. We lost in overtime, but I think the one good thing as I reflect now versus 4 or 5 years ago, however long it was, I'm able to separate result from overall experience. And yeah, I think South Korea was unique, and especially looking back on it now, because we were in Beijing and there was no fans at all, and we were kind of in a bubble, obviously due to the pandemic. Like, South Korea just seems like such an incredible experience.
Especially when you go from, like you said, all that to nothing. It's feels like you're just playing in a practice game down the street.
Yeah, exactly. You could literally hear a pin drop in that arena. You could hear everyone's voice. Like,
The
yeah.
worst thing, I'd imagine the worst in those is like if either yourself, one of your teammates, or heck, we all know the coach and staff swear. Yeah, all you hear is "F this," and like you could hear that so crystal clearly on the mics.
Exactly. Yeah, nothing's a secret.
Now, I've had a few different Olympians on the show and in the past, and I've asked them this question, and I want to ask you, where do you keep your Olympic medals? Some have said that they keep it at their parents' house. Some have said that they keep it in a Lululemon bag, like tucked in a corner. What about you? Where do you keep yours?
Mine are easily accessible. I have a bookshelf just to my left that they kind of just they stay on there, and then I have them out. Well, I haven't had them out as much as usual over the past few years. I've been doing less personal events, but I just had them out this week, and right now they're sitting in my gym bag. So yeah, they most of the time sit on my bookshelf, and just kind of an easy place to keep them where I can easily access them.
Makes
But
sense.
yeah, like my medals are so beat up, and um, I kind of love that. Like, I think one of the best things about having them is just being able to share them, take them places, let people clink them around, wear them, whatever it may be. So I hope when I'm older, they're in rough shape, as they already are. They were night one after I got some of them.
I bet. But
Yeah.
after celebrating, like again, it's a silver medal. It's a huge accomplishment. I bet they were clinking around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, who would be like everyone has a motivator growing up? It can be parents, it could be coaches, someone just to excel you to that next level. Who was your biggest motivator growing up?
Um, so there's many people. Like, my parents were so and still have been so instrumental. The amount of investment that they made both in myself and my sister is just incredible. Um, and so I have so much respect and admiration for them. Um, Not never forcing me into anything, but giving me every opportunity to try and every opportunity to succeed. And I understand that, um, I was privileged in having that opportunity as a young kid. And then, outside of that, there's a lot of different people that I look to for motivation. As I said, like, and some of those people I didn't even know. As I said, I looked up to Joe Sakic as a young kid. My favorite Leaf was Doug Gilmour, and I looked up to both of those people for very different reasons. Joe Sakic was a goal scorer and an exceptional leader who won 2 Stanley Cups amongst other accolades, including an Olympic gold. Whereas Doug Gilmour was just this hardworking, in your face, gritty type of guy who was undersized and did everything he could to possibly win. And then I would say, like, my overall, like, biggest inspiration in life, even as a kid before cancer became a factor in my life, was Terry Fox. He is the quintessential Canadian athlete, and especially as an above knee amputee now, like, I have no idea how he ran a marathon day after day on the prosthetic leg that he had back then. It wasn't even can't even consider that a prosthetic. It was like a piece of wood. And so, that's not to mention that, like, the selflessness and the determination that he had to, at that time in 1980, to run across the country and kind of inspire millions and millions of Canadians, not just then, but still to this day. And so, especially when I was diagnosed with cancer, like, that is someone who kind of gave me hope through my situation, and someone I looked up to a lot.
That's really motivating. Yeah, like, definitely. It's hard to really pinpoint just one person, but then, like you said, when you have different things that affect your life, that you see bigger names and that have gone through that, like Terry Fox, and then just, like, again, your hockey career, seeing Doug Gilmour, seeing Joe Sakic, like, do their thing and succeed, you're like, okay, I can do this. It's really motivating to, like, know that your passion is only a few steps away, really.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Now, talking about motivation, my last question for you is, what would your advice be for the next generation of hockey players that either may or may not have a setback, like a amputee leg or an arm or something like that, where they want to perform in sport and really succeed in their level?
I think most importantly, it's important to be open-minded and adaptable. And I think, especially people living with a disability, like, I think that's kind of an inherent characteristic that you're forced to develop. But especially when you're kind of transitioning into sport, like, there's so many sporting opportunities, and it's so incredible to see how much more accessible they're becoming. There's certainly a lot more work to be done, but I think, like, it's nice at least to see increased representation of sport for people with disabilities. And so, I would encourage young people to try as many as they can, to learn and understand their strengths and weaknesses and what they're able to do, and try to adapt things as best they can. And yeah, like, there's so many opportunities out there, but I think it starts with having an open mind, and trying new things, and then finding something that you like, and that you really enjoy doing and you're good at. And from there, it's about developing the habits and the discipline, and kind of the overall passion to wake up every day and kind of try and be better and learn how to do it at a high level.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. I really appreciate your time, and that's some great motivating words to end off on. All the best moving forward, and hopefully we'll see you at another future game soon.
My pleasure. I appreciate you having me, Ryan. Yeah, this was awesome. So thank you very much, and have a great day.
You too.